the pipette tip box recycling program basically started to recycle laboratory plastic that was normally going into the trash. And this plastic is seen as non-hazardous because it never comes in contact with biological or chemical agents. So normally going into the trash and sitting in the landfill, I decided that we just needed to recycle it. The idea for the pipette tip box recycling program basically started when I was a lab manager working in a lab, and I would personally take this good plastic and put it in the trash myself, and figuring that, you know, this doesn't need to go into landfill. It's cleaner than the Pepsi can and it should be recycled. Successfully, we have recycled over 2 tons of this plastic. And I should mention that this plastic is polypropylene, number 5, so like your yogurt containers and other food containers. Also, the economic benefit of recycling this stuff, we avoid the tipping fee, plus our recycling company is paying us $100 a ton for this plastic because they're able to turn around and sell it because it's higher quality, uncontaminated plastic. We don't allow this to be commingled with any other plastics or paper. It has its own bin, and so therefore we're able to get money for it. Also, the program is self-sustainable. Just building occupants have the bin to put it in there. The building service workers know to take it down to the recyclables, and transportation knows to take it to our recycling services. Actually, UIC has paid about $10 for the entire program because we've gotten grant money from the Illinois Department of Economic Opportunity, plus our sponsorship money from various scientific supply vendors. Every time we roll out the project into a new building, I'll have an event, pipette tip recycling event. And so what I've noticed is researchers kind of stockpile these pipette tip boxes because they understand too, like, hey, this is good plastic, let's use it for something, but they can't find uses for it. So they don't throw it away, but they just hang on to it. So I have this event and folks bring down just piles and piles of pipette tip boxes, just coming up to me and saying like, oh, what a great program this is, I'm so glad you started it. And even folks from other buildings I didn't even think of would need this say, hey, can we have a bin in our building too? We go through a lot, and so I put it there too. Definitely the environmental and economic impact. So I'm hoping to just decrease the amount of plastic in our landfills. And also, when we decrease the plastic in the landfills, we are supplying plastic recycling companies with plastic that they would have otherwise used oil to make the plastics from. So less in the landfill, plus less oil extracted. So that's a great environmental impact. But the economic impact that UIC is seeing from the tipping fees that we don't have to pay, plus the revenue cost. And that amount of money will help sustain the other recycling programs where we don't get a lot of revenue from. I like to use this as an example of a life cycle assessment. So just to see where plastic comes from and where it goes, so that it comes, like I said, from the ground and the oil, and then it goes to the landfill. That's called an open loop. So to see the life cycle assessment as a closed loop where you just keep the plastics within itself. I would love to see these plastics get remolded into new pipette tip boxes, but as of now that's not working. So yeah, definitely a life cycle assessment teaching tool for kids to learn. When I think about sustainability, the one word that comes to mind is logic.